tip 6, this kind of gets back to speaker setup. Making sure your speakers are level. That's another thing that I see kind of missed all the time. So we kind of got our triangle, we got our distances set up, but then if one speaker is kind of, instead of being perfectly straight up and down, if it's shifted over, you're going to have these phase anomalies and cancellations between the left and right channels of the loudspeakers. Your imaging is not going to be as precise. Your sound stage isn't going to have the same kind of depth and envelopment. Just by getting your speakers both perfectly level, or if you have to rake your speakers back, and some designs prefer to be raked back a few degrees, making sure it's the same on both speakers can make a pretty not subtle difference on your speaker setup. And the other benefit of leveling your speakers is now they're perfectly stable as well. So especially if you have spikes on your speakers, you want those things to be really steady where your speaker's not rocking back and forth. So this is an easy measurement. You just need a spirit level or even an app on your phone. Leveling your speakers can make a very nice improvement. So just double check that before you're done setting up your speakers.
So what about like some speakers? I know like the Martin Logans that I've got in for review, they're angled on the top. So would you just measure like the front? Because I guess the front is level.
Yeah, I've set up a lot of Martin Logans, and those are trickier because even the subwoofer cabinet usually has a slope to it. And so generally I have to put a level like on the bottom of the speaker or on one of the outrigger feet, that has a flat surface on it to check that it's perfectly level.
Okay.
So you can work your way around it if you have a cabinet that doesn't have any kind of parallel, top walls or anything like that. But it is a little trickier on some speakers to get them perfectly level. And as part of that tip, I've got this little tool here, this little Bosch. And you guys have probably seen stuff like this at a hardware store. Right. So this is a little laser pointer, but it also has these 2 spirit levels on here. This is another kind of shortcut that I use to set up speakers, not only to get them level, but then to make sure the toe in, the amount that the speakers are aimed towards the listener is exactly the same on both loudspeakers. So this is kind of a cool multi-purpose tool to have in your toolkit for setting up speakers.
I think Squeege just mentioned something about toe in. He says, how about, where'd it go? Here it is. How about extreme toe in for horn speakers, waveguide speakers? Seems to work for the clips. Would you recommend that?
Yeah, now I haven't played with every pair of clips out there. I do have a pair of Heresy 3s here at the house, and on those, I typically prefer no toe in or maybe just a few degrees. On the Klipsch horns, those are meant to go in the corner. So, I mean, that's kind of, it's designed to fire in and kind of cross at an axis in front of the listener. Toe in is very subjective. Yeah, Josh, pro tip, tripods are your friend too.
There you go.
Toe in is very subjective. And I find that that's a kind of a personal voicing of a sound. It also depends on your hearing, right? Like if you've lost a bunch of high frequencies, you might prefer more toe in because that more direct path of the tweeter to your ear is going to give you more high frequency information than having them kind of firing straight into the room. But it depends on every speaker design. They're all a little different. Like Dolly, for example, they design their speakers specifically to fire straight into a room as opposed to be towed in. So you have to read the manual or email the manufacturer to kind of get what they recommend there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I think with the Polk L800s, they're also designed to be
they're straight
into the room.
I use a laser. You guys use lasers?
I use it. So
I don't know about lasers, but I have the same thing that John's got in the background.
You got
there.
something a little different. Yeah, see, it wouldn't be a MoFi distribution show without
some
Japanese whiskey.
Yeah, right.
I
saw that in the background. I'm like, I know that bottle.
Got my little small pen one. Nothing fancy.
All right, now I know what we're drinking at the after party.
There it is, after party.
So that was tip 6.